Sonic CD is a weird little thing, isn't it? Sonic 2 introduced critical aspects of the Sonic formula that the series would seem alien without today. But this game just kinda throws all of that out, as things like the spin dash weren't even in the developers' minds when making this game. While the Sonic 2 team was out making that game in the States, this is what Naoto Oshima, Sonic's creator, was getting up to. As such, it's a lot closer to Sonic 1, for better or worse. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This is Sonic CD. To address the obvious elephant in the room, this game was designed for the Sega CD, an add-on for the Genesis. To oversimplify things, the Sega CD is able to run the system's namesake, allowing for bigger games. As such, there's enough leftover space to allow multiple 2D animated cutscenes, and these are incredible. Not to put down other classic Sonic games, but Sonic CD does the best job at displaying Sonic's personality, at least of its era. I don't even think further analysis is necessary, as this intro animation is so good at getting across what Sonic is in only a minute and a half without any words being spoken. But where exactly is he going? Another thing I have to compliment Sonic CD on, in comparison to its predecessors, is the game's world building. Yes, Sonic 2 did introduce new lore in its game's manual, but never stuck, unlike Sonic CD's contributions to the series. And there's reason for it. Instead of an island like usual, this game takes place on Little Planet, which only appears 1 month a year. According to the English manual, it's the last month specifically, but I don't really trust the English manual. It calls Amy Princess Sally, as in the character from the cartoon and comics, despite these characters looking nothing like each other. Who are they fooling with this? Both Sonic and Robotnik take an interest in Little Planet, wanting to see the natural beauty and using it as a new base of operations, respectively. Robotnik also takes an interest in Time Stones, which take place of what the Chaos Emerald roles would normally be. The capabilities of the Time Stones are a bit more defined than that of the Chaos Emeralds, but it still isn't what I'd call satisfying. Just a vague sense of manipulating time without any specificity of what that really means. First things first, this game had its own take on Spin Dash, which I can only assume was formed independently from Sonic 2's Spin Dash. This Spin Dash is worse in every single way. It's not chargeable, you just start and go. This isn't something that I ever want to use. Heavily contrasting Spin Dash is one of the many things that CD is known for, the Super Peel-Out, this time given its proper name. Speed-wise, the Super Peel-Out is a better version of Sonic 2's Spin Dash, with the catch that you're completely unprotected. This is meant to bring a risk-reward aspect to whether you decide to use a Spin Dash or a Super Peel-Out, but it's really not a decision. Sonic is a game about going fast, so between the choice of going really fast or not being damaged, yeah. I mean, why would you ever want to slow down in a game like this? On a completely unrelated note, let's talk time travel. Throughout the levels, you'll find past and future signposts that'll let you travel to different time periods. The future is incredibly dangerous and covered in machinery, a great display of Eggman's power if he's left to his own devices. The past varies level to level, but it generally has a pre-construction appearance to the levels, with certain sections not existing yet. Here you'll find robot transporters. Destroying these in the past makes it so the future isn't so desolate. I've seen people say that you're not playing the game right if you aren't going for the transporters, but I don't think that's very good for a Sonic game. I prefer to go fast and look around for these transporters. When I do look for them, it doesn't feel satisfying like the modern game's Red Star rings. Pop Panic itself has a very nice vibe. Vibe is the most important thing for opening zones, as it's too early to really get interesting with the gimmicks. I like this loop-to-loop. The boss sucks. Absolutely no challenge whatsoever. It doesn't even deserve to have me speak its name. This level's annoying. The first thing you'll see is a spiked wall that's burned into my brain from all the times I've run headfirst into it. But if you can avoid meeting a cheap demise, you'll come face to face with Metal Sonic, the absolute coolest of the Sonic robots. I feel like you could pick apart this design for hours, it's so pleasing. Not me though, I don't think I'm smart enough. Metal Sonic establishes himself beautifully by crashing through the walls and kidnapping fellow newcomer Amy Rose, who in this game is simply a Sonic fangirl. In this game specifically, Amy is a take it or leave it character. She doesn't really add anything to the game's story other than creating an excuse to introduce Metal Sonic, and this isn't the only time a player might see the robot before the boss fight. Personally, I would have preferred it if Amy just kept inexplicably showing up at the end of stages. It would have been funny. Collision Chaos sucks. It's the most random bullshit I've ever seen in one of these casino levels, and the boss, the Egg Tilter, shows off this game's awful pinball physics. Okay, so the music looped really weirdly in this level. It came to a complete stop and there was no music for a couple of seconds before it started from the beginning again. Speaking of which, CD is very well known for its 2 soundtracks. This isn't actually as big of an oddity as it sounds. Sonic Chaos had 2 soundtracks as well, one for the Game Gear version and one for the Master System version. This game had a different soundtrack composed exclusively for the American release, which I think has gotten a bad rap. It's not nearly as bad as some people say. I would even call it really good. In my opinion, the soundtracks are about equal. Some tracks are better in the Japanese release, and some are better in the American version. Although I will dock points from the American soundtrack for not having past variants for the stage music, which do exist in the Japanese version. Tidal Tempest is a fine water level, all things considered, which makes it the best water stage so far. Labyrinth Zone is not very well designed, and Aquatic Ruin is designed for you to be out of the water most of the time. Cool for speed running, but not really what I'm looking for in a water level. Tidal Tempest is the first not terrible level where water is unavoidable. Again, it's okay. Nothing really pops out at me as either exceptional or atrocious. The boss is certainly a boss fight. You start out chasing a Robotnik through the stage, then get an invincibility monitor that probably won't even be used for the boss proper. Then the Doctor activates his egg bubble, forming a shield of air bubbles around him that Sonic can gobble up and hit him one time to defeat. The fight's not completely effortless, as he does have one singular attack that can catch an unthinking player off guard, but it's just kind of weird. I don't know what to say. Quartz Quadrant is another fine one. Maybe a little worse than Tidal Tempest, but it isn't bad at all. The primary gimmick here is these conveyor belts that you can switch the direction of by running into these switches. I don't find that running along these grants that much speed compared to when they're working against you. I can't lie, I'm really struggling to find anything to talk about here. This level just went in one ear and right out the other. Tidal Tempest and Collision Chaos both had more going on, and I really didn't talk about the latter level for that long, did I? Quartz Quadrant is fine in isolation, but as the 4th level, past the halfway point of the game, I expect more than a cool mine. And the boss? What boss? The egg conveyor is not a boss fight. You run forward, and stop running for a bit, then jump. That's it. There's no battle whatsoever. Whoever thought that fake 3D was a good idea should be drug out into the street and shot. These special stages are horrible. Okay, so these stages require you to take down every UFO in a limited time. That time limit goes down rapidly if you touch the water. I'm tempted to say that this is fine at first, as the first couple of special stages have a small amount of water. But even then, these still aren't very good. Due to the aforementioned fake 3D these stages use, it's hard to tell where you'll go when you jump, and if you'll even hit the damn thing, or if it'll move 2 feet to the left at the last possible second. So yeah, these already aren't very fun, but then the stages start taking place in the goddamn waterlogged city of Atlantis, and these special time-providing UFOs certainly don't help when they're on platforms surrounded by water. Beating all the special stages means you have all the time stones, which means that you automatically get a good future in every level, and a good ending regardless of how many robot transporters you destroy. Look, I know I said that the transporters aren't very satisfying to destroy, but these special stages make me feel angry. So if you absolutely must get the good ending in this game, just look for and destroy the transporters. Wacky Workbench bravely asked the question, what if there wasn't a floor? That's not to say that this stage is full of bottomless pits. It's not a late game Sonic Rush level. Instead, most of the floor in this level sends you flying to the ceiling. This level is very annoying. One has to wonder what the point in a gimmick that propels you to the top of the level is, if there's almost always nothing but dead ends there. There's so many second here that seem like they go somewhere, but almost every time it proves to be nothing. The floor here is functionally identical to a bed of spikes. To bring positives into the mix, I think the color palette in the present is very nice. I really like this shade of blue, especially when contrasted with Sonic's darker fur. The games presented in the second act, no, I'm not calling them zones, aren't bad. They're nothing special. I would have preferred it if this one required speed to engage with, but they're certainly better than the crusher that doesn't actually crush you. With that out of the way, it's time to bitch again. This level has one of the worst roads to the boss fight in the game. If you go left, And who wouldn't? It's not obvious that you need to jump down here. The level loops in on itself, only offering you speed shoes as a reward. The Egg Razor isn't any better than its build-up. The whole fight is just a worse version of Sonic 2's Mystic Cave boss. During the first couple of hits, you'll need to jump onto one of the blocks and wait for the floor to send you up. Then jump on the block next to you and make it to the next level. About halfway through, spikes will get dread out, blindsiding the player, causing an easy hit. And depending on where you were standing when you get hit, sometimes you'll get sent all the way back down. And then there's the final hit, in which you're not supposed to jump to another block, despite that being what you've been doing the whole time. Sure, the Mystic Cave box has less going on, but sometimes simpler is better. Stardust Speedway is the best level in the game, and it's not even close. Every good quality that makes CD unique is here and in full force. The environment is beautiful. In a game where half of the level names are oftentimes meaningless alliteration, it's incredible to actually see the Stardust in the background of this level. And all the lights in the foreground look really pretty. It's got incredible music in every region. There are plenty of opportunities for speed. There's actually creative use of the time trial mechanic. You don't see that one very often. And most importantly, it's got great and fun gimmicks in the level design. I love these devices with the bumpers in them that you can launch yourself from. They remind me of the barrels from Donkey Kong Country. And the boss, the boss. Bosses aren't even the thing that this game does well, and Stardust Speedways is still great. Instead of the typical Eggman mech, it's the climactic encounter against Metal Sonic. And the change in opponents isn't all that's different about this fight, because it's not really a fight. It's a race, which makes this fight kind of fix the whole 3-act problem that most games just solve by removing that third act. Contextualizing the third act with a battle really helps the zone avoid overstaying its welcome. And the fight isn't purely cosmetic either. If you're too slow, Robotic's laser will destroy you. Even beyond that, keeping up with Metal and beating him is a decent challenge. But with that done, there's still one more level to attend to. It feels weird whenever this level starts. The race against Metal Sonic is so climactic that I often forget that it isn't the climax and there's still one more level left. Hell, I forgot the name of this level immediately after beating it somehow. I don't want to be too mean to Metallic Madness. There are things I like about it. It's actually pretty difficult in a way that I feel is fair. Well, most of the time. This level features these bomb robots which force you to back up while they explode. They're just annoying to run into, as they cause you to completely stop in your tracks. A gimmick all this level's own is a shrink ray. This is actually one of the game's best ideas. Once you get shrunken down, the level design becomes really cramped in a way that just can be done without training Sonic down. It's a shame it's not in the level more. Other than that, though, it's a pretty standard Sonic final level with its saw blades and conveyor belts. On that note, I suppose this level is pretty good serving as a final level. It pulls quite a few badniks from earlier in the game. The third act, unlike most third acts in this game, is a full act instead of something to lead up to the boss fight. This act also introduces a brand new gimmick, only to use it one time. The game's final boss, the Egg Spinner, is up to par with this game's usual standard for boss fights. That is to say, bad. It's very turn-based boss, if that makes sense. You're not given the opportunity to attack until Robotnik has finished his. And some of these attacks are not very consistent. After the final hit is landed, you're treated to another beautifully animated cutscene, and another one during the credits. Just like Sonic 2, I actually prefer the bad ending over the good one. Sure, Little Planet is still under Robotnik's control and will be turned to a desolate wasteland where life has absolutely no hope of surviving, but Sonic throws a rock at Eggman. Sonic CD is weird. Yeah, that's the word I'd use to describe this game. I can't lie, I always find it weird how this game is lumped in with the classic trilogy. I can't help but feel like it has more in common with Knuckles Chaotix, a game that saw almost no re-releases. That's not to say the games are at all comparable in quality. CD is far superior in just about every aspect, but again, this is a weird game. Looking back on the levels themselves, there were only 2 levels that I didn't really like, so I guess I like this game. B tier, I suppose.